Hi, I'm Laura, and for the last 4 years, my boyfriend and I have been living in and traveling around Mexico. Until last month, Mexico City had been my base for all those years, but like many of us, COVID changed everything, and I made the difficult decision to end my lease in the city and head to the coast for the summer to figure things out. For now, I'm in a small town near Manzanillo, and I'll be showing you what life looks like in a little Mexican beach town. I hope you enjoy it. So, this is a question I get so often, right? I mean, wherever you go in Mexico, if you're making videos or talking about Mexico, one of the most asked questions is the cost of living. A lot of you have already asked in the comments. I've even received emails from people about the cost of living here in this small beach town near Manzanillo versus living in Mexico City in particular. So I thought today I would talk about a couple of the different things that make a big difference to your wallet if you're considering a big city versus the coast here in Mexico. Let's get started. So one of your biggest expenses, of course, is always going to be rent or your accommodation, right, where you choose to live. I was really surprised that it was quite a bit more expensive to live by the coast than it is to live in Mexico City. I probably shouldn't be surprised because just like in the US, if you want to live by the beach, it's more expensive. The thing about Mexico City is, although I've been living there for 4 years and I've gotten used to this idea that the rent prices are going up every year and it feels like things are far more expensive than they should be, there are still so many deals to be had in Mexico City. There are so many neighborhoods. Obviously, Roma Condesa, Polanco, these are some of the most popular neighborhoods for expats to live. But there are so many other places, even just as nearby Escandon, Navarte, Anzures, to find apartments that are far more reasonably priced. We lived on the outskirts of the city. When we paid less than 10,000 pesos a month, that's not going to happen by the beach. And not just because, obviously, it's more expensive by the beach, but there's no really like apartments like there are in the city. There are so many options, studios, one bedrooms, all the way up to houses. Whereas when you come to the coast, it's more like condos and houses and maybe like sort of apartments that are above stores. But your options are much smaller because the location is much smaller, obviously. In Mexico City, if you want to find a place to live cheaply, you walk around the neighborhood that you want to live in, and there'll be for rent signs in every window. I walked around the neighborhoods here, haven't seen a single for rent sign. Lots of for sale signs, lots of people buying properties around here, which are way more expensive than I would have thought. Maybe I'm just out of touch with how expensive it is to buy property here in Mexico. But here along the coast near Manzanillo, it's upwards of $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 US dollars for homes. And in my opinion, if that was the price of something that you were buying in the US, you'd be getting a whole lot more in the US for that money than you're getting around here from what I've seen. But there you go. So cost of living for apartments and rent and all that sort of stuff is definitely cheaper in Mexico City, simply because there are so many more options available. Bills. Bills are also a little bit more expensive here. I mentioned this in my last video talking about handling the heat here, and you need air conditioning. I mean, okay, you don't need air conditioning, but it is a creature comfort that has really helped me sleep at night. We did try not to, I'm sweating right now. We tried to have nights where we didn't use the air conditioning and just used the fans that were in the room, but it's really not enough. The humidity is oppressive at this time of year, so we have been using it at night. We have, in this situation, I don't know if it's the same for other people who live in places that have air conditioning, but we basically have a bill for the air conditioning and then a bill for all the other electricity that comes here. So we got our first bill, which is only for the first 2 weeks that we were here, and it was already over 500 pesos. That's again for not just the air conditioning, but for everything. And in Mexico City, where you know, we lived with no need for fans, really, no need for air conditioning, no need for heating, and everything else was running off gas in our apartment. We were paying often less than 200 pesos a month. You know, if we'd been in like the last few months before we left the city, our bill was about 250 because we were charging everything all the time. We were using all the lights. We weren't leaving the house. So yeah, I know this is a bigger space than our apartment, and I understand that, like, in general, it takes more electricity, but yeah, the bills with air conditioning are definitely adding an amount of money to our cost of living here that you don't need in Mexico City or Guadalajara for that matter, because it's just so temperate and breezy. Groceries and food in general are cheaper here, in my experience. Not by a ton, but the produce is definitely cheaper here. I don't know if that's because we're not going to like big chain grocery stores, but for the most part, the food that we're buying day to day from the butchers and from the little abarrotes shops to cook at home has definitely been cheaper. There's reasons for that. Obviously, in Mexico City, we have access to, like, you know, organic places like the Green Corner or the gourmet shops like Ingredienta. And you impulse buy things that you definitely don't need, like, you know, organic shrimp or like you know, a big pot of tahini or and yes, lots of things that I don't need, but that I buy because they're there and they are a little bit special, and I like them. Here, those things don't exist. There are a few aisles in some of the abarrote shops that have like American things, but for the most part we've avoided them because they're crazy expensive, like $10 for a bag of Terra chips. So yeah, like overall we're spending way less on our groceries, but mostly because the sort of shops that we usually go to in Mexico City to buy kombucha and you know, kefir and organic yogurt don't exist here. And the produce is still great quality. I don't mean that as a complaint at all. Like, I've really enjoyed shopping locally and buying all the produce and everything from lots of different shops, and getting to know what's fresh and more seasonal. Yeah, so we're spending a lot less on groceries overall. So, which is a better cost of living? Mexico City, which is actually really surprising to me because before making this video, I would have said that for sure it's cheaper to live anywhere except Mexico City. But like I mentioned earlier, the sheer volume of people, the size of the city, and the things that are available keep the prices down in comparison to these smaller towns, where your options are fewer, and you know, that's pretty much, you get what you get. So yeah, that doesn't mean that it's not worthwhile. Certainly living in a beach town in Mexico is still far cheaper than living in a beach town in the US. But yeah, it's I guess what you're looking for. If you're looking to live in some of the cheapest places in Mexico, I would say the West Coast, pretty much anywhere where the foreigners have already arrived, is certainly not going to be that place. It's beautiful here. I understand why people live here. But if you're coming to escape high rent costs, really expensive houses to buy, especially in comparison to other parts of the country, living by the beach is certainly not the cheapest place to live in Mexico. But yeah, I've really enjoyed spending the summer here. We still have a month left, so I'm not wishing my time away yet. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about the cost of living in general in this small town, by the coast, in Mexico City, let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye!